Hello there, and welcome to today's session. We're going to talk about a very, very interesting topic that is, and if you stay until the end, you'll learn about why there's many of the self-defense training works, and I would say another one doesn't work. And you'll define what it means working or not working. I'll give you a couple of examples. I'm going to pick up the bag so that you can have a good understanding of what we are talking about and get you to with practical examples, because that's where uh, everything makes more sense, is when you have proper examples. Um, today's super video, today's training session, it's about, um, I would say, a very interesting topic. We want things, or you see things that really look good. And what do I mean by looking good? You see a perfect kick. You see um, a perfect um, knife disarm, or something that looks so good, right? Um, and I think this is a problem, because by default, and I train people in here. We obviously we try to do skills when training happens, when you're fresh, uh, calm, everything is predictable. But okay, so here's what happens if you just watch CCTV videos, right? It's fast. We have no idea. It's just someone just walked in, or someone did something, and you get pushed, blocked, grabbed, pulled. Man, it's like the other thing is, I think super important to capture is your heart rate goes up. It kind of bumps. It happened to me a couple of times back in here. I live in Morris Plains, as you guys know. And of course, Morris Plains is safe, being clear. But stuff happens, right? You meet people that they are not in the same wavelength or whatever. And you're probably not in the same wavelength. And that comes up with a lot of, I'm going to say, a lot of mess up to yourself. Um, so it's fast. It's confusing. What am I feeling? Should I do something? Should I move back? Should I talk with the person? Very, very, very hard. It's also fatiguing from all sorts of scenarios. You see people when they're like this, the heart rate goes up. So real situations have that. And they've got I would say the clear thing on being unpredictable. Um, so what is it that we need? What is that we need to change on that? Okay. So a couple of things. What is it that you see? And just look into, UFC, Ultimate Fighting Championships. And I know that it's inside the cage and whatever. Just look at when people are tired. So they are sparring, they are doing this event, people are facing you. What do they do? Like, what happens? You see what? The hands drop, right? And what their gestures are no longer perfect. Like, if you want to think about, I'll move up from here so that we can have, I can give you guys a better perspective of this. That is just okay. Pulling the camera up. So imagine this. You have this perfect jab, right? Or the palm strike, or this, but very particular, not particular, but from a point of view of the Krav Maga world, got the hands in here, and got knees to the groin, and plucks, and a whole set of things that we believe, because they are tested, that they work. But guess what happens when you are tired? You know that, right? You try to throw a jab, and the person is no longer there. The grab comes in, or the choke, and the hand goes to the side. So it's like, what happened? Is it the technique that is wrong? Let's say that for the case, the technique is right. Okay, the thing to do that is to take away the hands from your attacker, either by turning, either by pushing, something like that. But when you are tired, oh boy, what happens? It's like, oh, the hand is not there. I could not pull it. I was too tired. It was sweaty. These are things that I see every day. Okay, these are things that happen in our daily practice. So The next thing that I would say is for you to think about is this. You see kind of the disappearance. It's like there is a magical act, right? There are two magical acts in here. The first one is when you are a beginner, you come in and you ask, okay, teach me a technique, teach me the step by step. And I'm okay with that. But it's super important that you learn to think with your own head inside the context that is being grabbed, being pushed, being pulled. Learn within that context. And my job, because I've seen probably thousands of patterns, and I learn with my own patterns every day, is to give you a pattern. Pattern is a way to do a thing that kind of, it's in between sets. Here's a good way to explain this. Everyone knows that there is some kind of good running technique, right? Running technique. You go from here to here. The arms go like this, and you try to balance arms. Today I was working out in the morning. I was going uphill, and I'm like, I cannot hold my legs. So I remembered, okay, let's put the upper segments moving more. Okay, that's a pattern. Was it good? Was it bad? Too much? Can it go inside or out? So you create your own adaptations. And that's why things like losing timing, there is an object or a person comes into you and you get to the side and you go inside, or balance, where is my leg going? And if I'm grabbing, do I go to the side? If I'm clinching, grabbing someone, how do I clinch? In this case, the neck clinch. But think about this. Think about memory, okay? And everyone talks about muscle memory. There's a good debate on this, but just think that you learn what you do. That's it, okay? And you learn what you do in a certain context, in a certain way of doing things. So why knowing a lot of techniques, and I'm asked guys like, oh, we control this way or we control the other way. I'm like, okay, that's fine. We have to give, I have to give, and you will receive, and you will work, and you will train. The thing that you'd say, I adapt better to that, and I can work with that. I hope this makes sense to you, because you could be this tall, or this tall, or this tall, and you can be like these, or these, or these, or these, or these, every different body types. And it doesn't matter how many techniques you know. It matters that you know. It matters that you know something that works with the body and with the person that you are. I want to put that super clear, okay? I'll give you, I would say, I'll give you a practical example, okay? Bear with me. Okay. That's a bag. That's one of our super interesting bags. So you can see the feet as well. Because it allows you to strike, grab, place knees, right? It allows a lot of things that are related to what a fight could be, what a it's called fight, self-defense fights are, I would say, think about them as shorter, okay, versus about unregulated. Although there are rules, right? You always have to obey to gravity. That's just the reality. Here's something that I could never do, okay? Never. Or I'll do it from here. I'll do it so that you can see. See this? Side kick? Man, I could never land a side kick on competition. I trained it perhaps for 3 years. Well, my instructor at the time said, oh, you need to work me. I could never land it. Never. Until one day, after 3 years, in a non-pressure scenario, In fact, not in karate, in Krav Maga. Guess what? I raise the leg, and one of the sides goes out. My partner goes a bit more to the side. Okay, not obviously. In this case, it was not flying, but I could land it. Same thing is, I would say, meaningful for adults that are starting to learn how to defend themselves. The perfect shot. The perfect shot is the one that you land and does not get you into trouble. Clear that? The perfect jab, that is the line from here, is the one that you can land. It's fast, and after this, doesn't get you into trouble. Now, if you land like this, we do teach this, with the shoulder coming up, so that, in the beginning, you start learning how to raise the shoulder and hide your shin over here. You see? We do it from this side, this side, here, here. The perfect jab, if this is a jab or a palm strike, is, again, I'll repeat this definition. The perfect, and again, and there comes is the thing that you can land that causes an effect, and that doesn't get you into trouble. Okay, that's it. That's your perfect technique. So, guess what that does? That does that. Most likely, you have to train in an environment that allows you to keep exploring, to keep trying to find what's the best way for me to strike, what's the best way for me to go in, so that things like what we've talked about, the 3 key factors, essentially, okay, did I find the right timing? Do I have the right balance? Are my supports, my legs in the right place? Is my guard up? Because you'll see, even yesterday, we posted a video yesterday on one of our students. And besides working or training timing, that is, when do I go in to do something? How do I get that trained for myself? He was also training like, oh, my hands are up, my hands are not up. And you see, this is very common, either because we have in our classes, we don't strike people in the head, at least in the first 6 weeks. And I mean, don't strike people in the head. That is, when you start in here, it's extremely safe. We touch the shoulders inside and the chest. And then later on, as you move in, we have controlled sparring to the head with helmets and with big boxing gloves. But later down the line, with full permission, later, you'll have MMA gloves and always helmets. That's something that unless if one of you decides to go full MMA, mixed martial arts, that's a different thing. But for self-defense purposes, you need to be safe and completely avoid injuries. That's the key as an adult that starts coming in. So knowing techniques, I've seen these, like you've seen like the karate chop. Man, have you tried to apply that thing? Is there a way to apply that thing? Is there a way to apply a shuto? That's the area of the hand. It could be this way or this way. Is there a way to apply that in a real life scenario when someone is facing? Of course there is. You raise the hand up to the throat or to the whatever, something in the palm or to the chest. But if you trained it, and that's my major thing, this needs to be trained, okay? Again, in a safe scenario, but that invokes how the application is done for real. And then in terms of your physiology is like, how the body works, how everything inside works. We should be able to mimic the physiology of a potential encounter with a bad guy or a bad girl or a bad person. I think that's the best way to think about this is you are mimicking the problem when you are facing someone, okay? I think that is super important that you look into that and help yourself with that. That is learning, I'm going to call it a dynamic way. A dynamic way means this. Dynamic just means change over time. That's what it means. Are you with me? Okay, so I promised you these things, and I hope I'm delivering on the promise. But if the one insight that I want to give to you guys is this: if you have a skill that a skill, a thing that you've acquired, you can throw a jab like we did in there, but that thing cannot survive fatigue, it's probably not a skill, and it's probably not acquired. It's like a rehearsal. It's a cool rehearsal. So go back to whatever you are training, right? Go back to there and say, okay, I need to get myself to a position that mimics the physiological data, the physiological status that I'll be into, okay? And I'm focused more on the physiological status because that's something that you can measure. You can use your Oura ring. It's, I think, well known, but I will definitely research more on these, okay? What are the markers? Markers, got it? I mean research. I don't mean like anecdotic, anecdotic evidence, like when someone says, oh, I felt this and I felt that. Like there is data. There is data coming from people looking into things and having your heart rate measured. Based on that data, let's get you to somewhere in that state and then see if there's the skill work, okay? There's the thing that you are trying to do work. You know what? You know who has a great advantage in this? Assuming, and this is the most anti-Krav Maga thing that I'll tell you. I think the modality that has most of these, assuming that the heart rate goes really up, in fact, it's two. It's wrestling, where you've got always that close combat or close contact, and people are pushing and pulling. Some folks do throw boxing gloves and they throw it out, but I think that resembles like some push and pull, okay? And if you ever fought someone, or if you don't even to fight, so if you have brothers or sisters, I think you remember that we've wrestled each other or you pushed each other. So that thing resembles. And then the other thing that came out, I'm going to say lately, or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or BJJ, the rolling aspect, where you can go, I would say, pretty strong without getting hurt. That's very, very interesting. Krav Maga, sparring and scenarios. You always want to do these two different things. Sparring is made with bouts or durations of time where a task needs to be done. A thing like you box with you box, or you kick and you box, or you clinch. But when there is striking, you guys cannot do that. It's very hard. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna do light touch, or for example, you're gonna do light touch the body, no, but light touch the head and contact to the body. That's super hard. Do you see what I mean? Super hard. Imagine you do this. Okay, I'll show you from here. You are trying to do this. You are trying to tell to your brain. I'm just thinking about the attacker, right? You are trying to tell to your brain, go somewhere like this. You see the guy gonna go in there fast, right? Fast to the bottom, in there, and whoops, a little gentle to the head. How the heck does that work, right? How does someone that is over there, right over here, understands that? So if you're training like this, fast and then just a little bit, you're not helping your partner. I can assure you. On the other hand, most likely what we need, and when I would say when you do these things, it's to do this. I'll give you the rule set, or the one way. That doesn't mean that it's the best way, but it's one way. Get the same, get the same level of intensity. Okay. Get the same level of intensity. Get the same level of intensity. Train with your partner a lot. With the same partners, okay? Of course, doing martial arts with just a bag, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for the long term. It allows you to keep alive, but you do need that partner to test. So being clear. Does that help? I hope so. So, for everyone out there, I think this has been it's the big lie. Okay, if it looks good, if by default everything looks good, and I've seen things that look really, really good. There's a video out there of a guy that obviously knows boxing, and he tackles a couple of them. It just provides, he has timing. He's probably been there. He keeps moving, strikes, gets out, strikes the next one, gets out, keeps moving. He could, throw down a couple of people. But for that to happen I'm very positive that his heart rate went up many, many times in here. So that when he gets to that situation, it's like, okay, cool. This is just one of those. So, guys, DM us start, START, if you want to see what actually holds up. Okay, we'll work with you, and we'll make sure that you are the best version of yourself and that you learn how to fight. And if you already know how to fight, phenomenal. Come in, train. We are an open door, a very, very strong and driven community in terms of helping each other and also keeping on creating challenges. Hit the button below if you are ready to subscribe. Send us messages, texts, and I shall see you tomorrow.